This is Apple's new iPad Pro, which breaks the mold in more ways than one. Apple is known for releasing pretty consistent products, but the 2024 iPad Pro brings major upgrades. So what's new? I'm Will for GSM Arena, and let's find out in our full review. The 5th generation iPad Pro is available in 11-inch and 13-inch versions, as usual, and we have here the 11-inch version. Unlike previous iPads and their LCD displays, Apple has finally switched to an OLED here. Plus, you get a big chipset upgrade with Apple's M4. The tablet is made of aluminum with a matte finish. It's incredibly thin. At 5mm, it's the thinnest iPad yet. You don't get anything flashy on the back, just an Apple logo and the camera housing. The sides of the iPad Pro are thin and flat. The bezels offer enough space for a good grip, and overall the device feels quite nice to the touch. You don't get official ingress protection here like you would on Samsung's Galaxy Tab S9 Ultra. The display of the iPad Pro is an 11-inch OLED with a pixel density of 264 ppi, a 3:2 aspect ratio, and a 120Hz refresh rate. It's something completely new. Apple calls it an Ultra Retina Tandem OLED, and it's a big upgrade from the LCDs of previous models. Basically, what you have here are two OLED panels stacked on each other. This has allowed Apple to safely boost the max brightness without risking OLED degradation in the long run. And the iPad Pro's max brightness is class-leading. We measured nearly 600 nits of maximum brightness with a manual slider, and this can boost to almost 1000 nits in auto mode when needed. The contrast is better too, especially when it comes to HDR. You can even see the difference here when compared to the display of the Galaxy Tab S9 Ultra's OLED. We're happy that there's no selfie cutout on the iPad's screen, and it also has support for Dolby Vision, unlike on the Galaxy. Also, it's possible to order the 2024 iPad Pro with a special nano-texture laminated glass, which is meant to be less reflective, for even better visibility in challenging lighting. Swiping on this screen is smooth thanks to the 120Hz refresh rate, and it's dynamic. It should be able to dial down as low as 1 Hz to save energy. For audio, the iPad Pro 2024 features 4 large speakers. There's a pair on each of its shorter sides. It's far from the loudest tablet, but we quite like it. The bass notes are punchy, and highs are quite balanced.
I'm wide awake, but you're a nightmare. I can't escape, I'm seeing you everywhere.
The iPad Pro uses Apple's FaceID for biometrics, and is secure thanks to the front-facing TOF camera. The FaceID works no matter in which orientation you hold the tablet. And you can choose between Wi-Fi only and cellular 5G models, and 4 storage options: 256 gigs, 512 gigs, 1 terabyte, and 2 terabytes. I should also mention accessories that you can buy separately for the iPad Pro 11 2024. Here you get support for the new Apple Pencil Pro. It's a stylus that brings even more gestures and functionality over previous Apple Pencils. And the Magic Keyboard gives you typing and trackpad capability to basically turn your iPad Pro into a laptop. Both are quite nice to have to unlock this tablet's full potential, but unfortunately they're also very expensive. The newest iPad runs on the latest iPadOS 17.5 out of the box. The layout is quite similar to the iOS you get on the iPhone. However, on iPadOS, you also have a dock gesture. If you swipe quickly upwards from the bottom line, you'll close the app. But if you swipe slowly, you'll pull up the dock for shortcuts and multitasking. When you're working with an app in full screen, you can summon the dock and drag and drop an icon to open in a floating window, which you can snap left or right. These are called slide over apps, and they appear in the task switcher on the side of the full screen ones. You can also use split screen. Just tap on the 3 dots in any full screen or slide over app. Split screen can also be made within the task switcher by dragging one app over the other. Something interesting you get on the latest iPad Pro is advanced augmented reality, made possible by its LiDAR scanner. It uses a laser to scan the environment and measure distances, and that can enable things like measurement apps, interior design, or AR-powered games. Now let's get into the new Apple M4 chipset. You get an M4 chip with 9 or 10 cores, depending on which storage tier you pick. The M4 is much more efficient than the M2, which we saw within the 2022 iPad Pros. Apple claims it can deliver the same performance with half the power. And when it comes to peak performance, it's a considerable upgrade when it comes to both the CPU and graphics tasks. It also supports more advanced neural processing and AI-powered features. In benchmarks, the 2024 iPad with its M4 chip earns notably better scores than the previous iPad Pro generation. Overall, the iPad Pro offers superb, even laptop-grade performance for both gamers and pro-oriented users. It's even powerful enough for things like video editing. It doesn't seem like iPadOS apps are able to take full advantage of this power just yet. It would be great if macOS apps were supported here later down the line. And it's not just raw power, the thermal management here is outstanding. The tablet barely throttled at all after an hour of stress tests, and it didn't get hot either. 2024's iPad Pro 11 is powered by a 7,606 mAh battery. In our battery tests, the tablet did a respectable job, earning an active use score of 12 hours and 37 minutes, and the individual numbers were competitive all around. For tablets, the call time you see here is using WhatsApp over Wi-Fi, as this is the Wi-Fi only model. There's support for 30-watt charging here, and no charger in the box. With a proper adapter, we were able to charge the iPad Pro from 0 to 41% in half an hour, and a full charge took an hour and 46 minutes. The 2024 iPad Pro has a single 12-megapixel camera on the back, paired with the LiDAR scanner which I mentioned earlier. And on the front is a 12-megapixel ultra-wide-angle camera for selfies. The main cam's photos are okay. They have enough detail, though the processing is rather artificial looking. The colors are a bit muted, something typical for Apple, and the dynamic range is plenty wide. The main cam's video quality is a close match to what we've seen on the photos. They look decent, with a great dynamic range and okay-ish detail, but again the processing is far from natural. The photos from the selfie camera have mediocre detail, abundant noise, and an overprocessed look. You do get the choice of the ultra-wide framing or a cropped-in one. So that's Apple's 2024 iPad Pro 11. Even with its thin and lightweight form factor, it's able to deliver good battery life. And it has a class-leading, bright and contrasty OLED, great speakers, and a very powerful chipset. The iPad Pro is on the pricey side, especially if you also want to get the additional Magic Keyboard and Apple Pencil. And some might argue that the M4's performance is overkill for iPadOS apps, though Apple might find a way to put that power to good use down the line. In the end though, if you're after a powerhouse of an Apple tablet, the new iPad Pro is the way to go. Thanks for watching, guys. If you're curious about an Android tablet instead, you can check out our reviews of the Samsung Galaxy Tab S9 Ultra and the Xiaomi Pad 6. Let us know what you think, and I'll see you on the next one.